Hey, everybody, it's Linda and Sterling. Hi,
Morning.
Sterling.
Hello, good morning.
Sterling noted the light behind me, and obviously the heavenly angels are standing with us today.
She's very angelic today. I said, just don't ascend before we finish the
Wouldn't that be something if I could levitate right now in front of everybody, right on camera?
that cost extra.
They'd be saying, that's fake news. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, everybody was kind enough to send a bunch of questions, and some of you wrote me, and here's the deal. You got to write me on the YouTube channel. When I say on the community section, I'll say, okay, we're getting ready to have Sterling on, and then you guys send questions. Because if you do it in too many places, it's too hard for me to gather it up. So those of you who wrote me, I'll try to get you on next week's list. Okay, unless some of these questions are it. So you got a lot of questions, my friend.
Okay.
And they're a little bit heavy duty. So if you
Yeah,
can't, if you can handle anything. Okay. Is Texas going blue? Beto O'Rourke is working hard to turn Texas blue.
You know, he's doing a great job, but it looks to me like Texas in the end will still stay red. This will be a very close election, but it looks to me like it's going to be, you know, within a few percentage points, it's still going to be red. So
Okay. Now, will there be justice for George Floyd? Will there be a positive result from the destruction and protesting?
yes, you know, I was asking my guys about this. This is a very large topic, so we should probably spend a little bit of time here on that. When I did some work on George Floyd, well, let me back up for a second, because you and I talked a little while ago. Going back to Saturday, I was walking down the stairwell of her home, and I got a big flash of energy. In fact, you know, it was like a burst of energy, almost the back of a jet plane. And so I knew my guys kind of wanted to talk, and I said, what's that all about? So they said there's something very big going to happen. Two very big things are going to happen. One very good.
What day again? I'm sorry.
Saturday. This last Saturday.
Okay.
And they said one very big event's going to happen, and I'm sorry, two very large events are going to happen. One good and one bad, related to a death and also related to politics. So then I asked, well, what is it? You know, and then they wouldn't tell me. So to be fair, for whatever reason,
when they do that.
And then we saw what happened on Monday with George Floyd, and saw the riots break out. And as I was talking to Linda, I said, you know, that's it. That must be the event around the death and the politics. But the good news is that as we get into these questions, while it seems like a very bad event, there's a lot of very good things that are going to happen. This actually starts tipping the scales towards race relations and better things in this country. And I did see three levels of major change across government, both local, state, and federal, that will help with race relations. They'll help with, you know, reviewing police actions much faster and getting the court much faster and much better monitoring. But it's kind of the tipping point. So
okay.
I want to at least bring that up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. In regards to Mr. Floyd, Minneapolis overcome the heartbreaking situation and address. Oh, well, this is almost the same question. In regards to George Floyd, can Minneapolis overcome the heartbreaking situation and address the terrible systematic racial disparities and injustice? You said
they will.
That was the good news.
Yeah, they will. This is the tipping point for the whole nation. And I think the world will get a lesson from this as well. Yeah.
Okay. And people want to know, is George Floyd's mother, because he's in transition, so I can't get him. But as George Floyd's mother, is there any comment from her?
Yeah. Now, so interesting enough, I did try to communicate with George Floyd, you know, just the other day. And for me, what I saw was that, you know, obviously very surprised at first. It was his life path. More or less an angelic figure coming down here.
Yeah.
It was his life path.
He was shocked.
Now, when he crossed over, he was like, holy mackerel. I had no idea that not only that was my mission, but I fulfilled it. Because now I've actually been really an angelic force in the world for change, which he never realized that was his life purpose. So he was very surprised. Yeah.
Right.
In a good way, yeah.
But did you get his mother at all?
Um, I think the mother needs a little bit of time in order to kind of come around to that understanding. So,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, because the mother, died, I don't know how long ago. He
yeah,
called out for her before he died.
yeah,
I
yeah,
felt like his mother met him for sure, but any
absolutely.
kind of answers from her, I'm not quite sure. I have to concentrate more. Okay, how long will these protests last?
For me, what they're telling me is they're actually going to go on for a number of months. So we're going to see consistently up through the conventions. By the
Okay,
time you get to Republican Democratic convention, so you're going to see a real presence. I don't think they're going to be burning down buildings for 2 months, but you're going to see a very consistent protest across many state capitals, and we're going to see this for quite a while. I don't think it's going to settle down until we start to get past the conventions.
okay, okay. Will race relations get better? It's kind of the same questions, yeah.
Yeah, they're all related, absolutely. And what we're seeing here is a much younger generation.
They're
Um,
not playing that. And we're in a breeding where all nations are all as one. And
exactly,
so
exactly.
there
Younger,
will be peace, but it'll take, listen, from where we even came from the 1800s, when I had a chance to talk to General Grant, and when he
sure.
was also president, and he tried his best. He even fought that KKK with everything. But what happened is the white man got tired of spending their money and fighting against the KKK, and they told him to let it go. And then they just overtook, black man couldn't vote. But where we've come from there, and there was the Watts riots. There's been more, or Martin Luther King was assassinated. And then as we grow, I hate to see the deaths because of it, but there will be peace down the road.
There will be, yeah.
But a lot of intermarriage, a lot of people not looking at your color anymore. That's what I saw. It's that
Yeah,
total love. Yeah.
absolutely.
What type of jobs will be in demand for the next 10 years?
So the one thing about COVID-19 and a lot of things that have happened kind of leading up to it are that it's a real transition into the focus in the economy. So one of the biggest changes we're going to see is, technology is going to shift everything, but a lot more around telehealth and telemedicine.
Oh,
So people are going to do a lot more things remotely, but then the speed of development of cures and medications is going to be certain acceleration to all that as well. So all around telehealth, telemedicine, you're going to see a lot of green jobs. When they say green jobs, that's everything from solar to electrified vehicles to a lot of automation systems controlling every aspect of our life. So, there's going to be a whole shift here in the economy. So I think the good news is that we'll see a healthy economy, but focused in many different areas that it wasn't, say, 40 years ago.
right. And I also see them paying wages better now.
They will.
Wage increases will come where people can live. And I also saw, again, I'll emphasize, I see Roosevelt with the New Deal. We're going to have something like that when Biden comes in.
Absolutely.
People will get trained. We're back to working on the infrastructure. And like you said, the green, it's going to be, every man can have work. Every man and woman can have work.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Sterling saw the next president as a billionaire businessman who owned hotels and had gray hair. Does Sterling still see a billionaire businessman being elected?
So good question. When this came up a year ago, and the information from my guides hasn't changed, I said, "Who's going to be the next president?" They said, "Yeah, it's a billionaire businessman, gray hair, a little more on the taller side." They said he was purple, which meant to me that was, meaning Republican, Democrat. So if you're a little bit of both, they call it not red or blue, you're purple. It was somebody that had interest in the hotel industry, not a hotel magnate, but had a number of investments and had experience in the hotel industry, and then saw a woman vice president with dark hair.
Right.
Now, my guides only showed this from behind. So I saw him from behind, and I kept, say, "Tell me who it is." For whatever reason, they wouldn't reveal it. When Bloomberg came on the scene, I thought, well, maybe that's the guy. Now, obviously, he came and went, but he hasn't completely gone.
He's working with Biden.
Right. So for me, somehow it looks to me like Bloomberg is still how actively involved in the election, and maybe that's why I saw him. That's what helps push it over the top.
He might be the reason that yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
He's not the actual president, but he assists with putting. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
This isn't on your list, but I've got to ask you real quick because it just popped in my head. There's Amy Klobuchar.
Klobuchar?
Yeah, is she still running? Is she still
A candidate?
Yeah.
No, I mean she pulled out of the race, but
I know, but is she still considered for VP? Because they're saying she didn't prosecute those people, and I think it's going to work against her.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last time this came up, I still see there's like a floating number of 3 candidates that Biden's considering. And for me, that's a little hazy because it looks like almost even from week to week that changes. As
Right.
different people, he interviews different people and
Right.
Yeah, so.
Okay, will these protesters turn on Trump as he stokes violence? Will they become anti-Trump protests? Oh, so
Yeah.
yeah, will people walk in the streets anti-Trump? Well, they were in Washington, D.C. yesterday.
Right. No, I feel that's already happening because
I do too.
it's the new generation, whether
Right. And the Women's
millennials
March right after he was voted in.
Yeah, and you can only take so much. The racism and the unemployment, and look, there's a real lack of leadership, and even they get it at their level. So they're not going to be as patient as some of our ancestors were in getting all this done. They want it now. So
yeah. Is Kim Jong Un still alive?
Yeah, I did some work on this a while back, and then I asked again recently. It looks to me like he is still alive, but what I keep getting is he does have some major cardiac problems, and I think they were aggravated by COVID-19. And I did see, and I still tend to see that there's a major leadership change within a few months.
Okay.
So like a month ago, I looked like it was 3 months. So now maybe it's more like 2 months. So the only reason it'd be a major leadership change is there was some sort of a major medical,
something coming up that he can't work.
So yeah.
Well, he's horribly overweight and he chain smokes, I guess, really bad. So it's not good for your heart. Okay, so if there's a blue wave, do you see any other changes to the conservative Supreme Court?
I do. For me, I still see there's 2 Supreme Court justices that will be changed out. So looks like some from health reasons, may both from health reasons. But I do see a shift there within a 12-month period. I don't think it's going to happen before the end of the year. It could, but looks like it's into next year.
Yeah, because they'll wait for, first of all, RBG won't leave until the new president's in.
Right.
But, and I did feel the death of one Supreme Court judge.
I do as well,
but
too.
I think they're going to escort Kavanaugh out the door.
Yeah, and I think you've gotten great information in this area. I see the 2, and I see the swapping out. It looks like one is due to health concerns, could be a death. It wouldn't surprise me if the other one was Kavanaugh, but you're clear on that one. So
they were as clear as day. Back in Oklahoma, I was at the powwow, and people were writing me, Linda. It's because remember they were having the trials.
Sure.
And oh God, is he going to get in? Is he going to get in? And my guys were as clear as day. They said, yeah. I made a little self video. I said, you guys, I'm so sorry, but he will get in. But don't worry. They were showing a hand on his shoulder, escorting him out.
For me, and I was surprised when he got in because it looked like I saw him running so fast and hard getting in, but running so fast he ran out the back door. Yeah. So, so figuratively, but so that may still happen. Yeah.
Well, the good news is Justice Roberts, went against the California was being sued because the churches said they can't tell us to wear a mask and how to sit. And right. Justice Roberts went to the liberals and said, nah, they can. And Kavanaugh wrote the dissenting paperwork. And I thought, yeah, you just want your name up in lights. You think you're all that in a cup of tea. I can't go with anger because that's not well-being, but I can see him being turned around. And listen, I'm going to tell you something else. He has a gambling problem.
Hmm.
He's got some issues coming up too with that. So I'm thinking it's because they found out he lied to Congress and they're going to bring him up, judge him. But there might be something else he does that comes up.
I would agree. That sounds dead on to me. Yeah.
Right. So what is the outlook for the US and the world in 2021 in terms of housing? We already sort of discussed, John.
Yeah.
What do you see the housing market?
Yeah, I think the housing market's going to be a little bit is going to struggle for a little bit if I look forward 12 months from where we are right now, because there's a little bit of resettling of the market while the economy restores itself, and confidence in markets is what drives change, right? So that investors don't like risk in markets necessarily. So as the confidence starts to return, it starts to affect everything else. Yeah.
But Sterling, I was watching the market last week, and I literally saw Trump holding wads of cash and throwing it at the market. He's so desperate to get that. He was bragging like we're going to be up to 25,000 soon. And he's just desperate. You can almost see the market trying to go down, but you know what I'm saying?
Very true.
It's like his friends and everybody's trying to help him, but the market doesn't give what's really truthfully going on right now. And financially, well, you can't have that much unemployment and have a thriving economy.
Exactly. So I was getting the same things you are, is the market's being propped up right now artificially. But it's because the influxes of cash in ways that you don't know where the cash is coming from. So you can't have that high unemployment.
No.
I think California is over 20% unemployment.
Right. It's worse than the Great Depression.
Right.
Okay, please ask Dr. Martin Luther King what our next steps should be.
Now that one's just a little more difficult. Sometimes I think you get better information than I do. But what
he was with me earlier today.
Oh, good. I mean, I'll state what I got up front was that when he passed over, he had the "I Have a Dream" speech, and so he's really almost prophetically looking down the road, saying, "Look, it's going to come." And then I feel when he crossed over, a lot of the angels and the guides that were there to greet him and family said, "Look ahead to 2020, where we are right now. 5 decades out. Look at the change that's going to come about."
Okay.
So I feel like they showed him, but that's what I got.
His dream will come true. America. Yeah. Did you see Germany is in protest? The UK is walking the streets against the death of that beautiful man. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
So the world is coming together more so than not. I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, what can we expect in New York City in the coming weeks and months? Will New York experience a second wave?
I think the whole nation, not just New York, will experience a second wave. But I think we talked about this before. It'll be tempered by the fact that there's going to be a better way to kind of test and do tracing to figure out exactly where the
they'll catch up with it faster.
They can grab it faster, and that if this person, I think there was a news clip on, maybe it was even last night, but there was a big pool party. I don't know if that was in Missouri. I'll have to check the news.
Yes, Ozarks.
And then they found out, there you go, and they found out one of the people there did test positive for COVID-19. So you can expect probably an outbreak there. But now they know who that person is. They can trace them.
Exactly. Keep them from getting other people sick.
Right.
Okay, will a Kennedy ever be president again?
Eventually, but won't be any faster than 3 election cycles. So maybe by the 3rd election cycle.
Jack just came in and laughed when he just took a puff of his cigar and laughed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Presidencies will be totally different in the future.
Right.
Thanks to this president, there will be a lot that changes. When will we come to some semblance of normalcy? So I guess you would define normalcy as maybe even from the last president, from Obama, where you knew you had an administration, a good administration, where you could get a job and take care of your family. Struggled, but at least do something.
Yeah. I really feel like inside of the first 2 years of the next presidency, the next Biden presidency, is when people will start to be able to take a deep breath, feel better. But the key is it's going to be a new normal. That's the key.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. You're younger than me, and I was talking to a client yesterday who's my age, the things that, you know, when I signed up for this life, I didn't realize it was going to be such a roller coaster ride. Starting with, I was a little girl when John F. Kennedy died, assassination. There was a riot at my high school when Martin Luther King died, RFK. It was just one thing. We used to do the sitting in the hallways with your head between your legs, like that was going to help you if a nuclear explosion happened. But, and I went through the Loma Prieta earthquake. By the way, yesterday I woke up at 5 a.m. from a dead sleep, and my house rumbled so hard the windows were shaking. And I sat up and I said, earthquake. I jump up and the dogs were running with me. I ran to my son's room and he was standing up. I said, oh my God, did we just have an earthquake? And he said, I don't know. So I'm looking to see if there was any damage or something. As I'm running, I see a bright light. It was lightning. It was thunder. But that was powerful thunder. But because I felt earthquake, it's weird. And I'm just going to say this out loud. You guys, you're getting this scoop now. I'm definitely feeling California's got one coming up.
Well, absolutely. I think
not Armageddon, just I feel a good shaker coming.
Yeah, I felt it was a shaker on the Central Coast. I think we talked a couple of Sundays ago. Yes, you're getting right. We agree on that. Yeah. And I think I'd have to think back, but I think it was June. I was feeling it was like it was June of next year, but
okay. Well, you can say earthquake in California, and you're always going to be right because there's always. Yeah. But I felt a pretty good sized shaker. But my ears haven't been ringing, so when my ears start ringing, we know. Okay, so I missed one. Will Mitch McConnell be reelected?
I get no, and I get I get it's going to be a very close race, so close that they'll demand a recount. But by the time the recount's done, the new. The new elected.
Oh, fantastic. So anyway, now Boris Johnson, will he get ousted from the UK? Boy, his numbers are going down.
Yeah, they are. And when I asked about this, what they told me was it's going to be very difficult for him, but they won't be able to get him out of there until I think it's 2023. So now some people said he's going to get run out of town and tomorrow.
Right.
They're
taking up a petition to get rid of his friend.
Yeah, no, I know. So I'll yell at my guides later if they're wrong.
Okay.
But for me, my guys are like, he's going to be able to hang in
whenever
there.
I threw cards, I was shocked he got reelected. I think something was wrong with that because he got reelected a little too high. It's almost like somebody was helping with that.
Yeah, no, I feel like if I use my logical mind, he's out tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah, but also every time I ask, and I got to believe my guides, because my guides also said there was going to be protests in the street and a news station was going to be hit, which happened. But what I feel is Brexit wasn't ever going to take off.
Right, yeah.
So, or if they start it, they stop it. Anyway. Okay, will there be a breakthrough in the treatment of diabetes and depression? Two totally separate things.
Well, they are two very, very large topics. So regarding depression, I mean, obviously we're not doctors, but there's many kinds of depression. But what I will say is that so there's like stuff driven by social circumstances, psychological, medical, But I will say this, that I see a lot of depression in many areas of this planet can be affected by meditation. So people just calming down and meditating, there's a certain amount of depression that can be just syncing up with the universe to help. Does that cure all the forms of depression? No, absolutely not. But I think it's just a step in the right direction. So I guess it's a cautionary note that many forms of medical depression, but there are some that can be addressed by meditation. Right.
And also, we can energetically release ourselves from being in our heads all the time. Mm-hmm. That's where my life got saved, because Eckhart Tolle, who practiced the Tao, and be the observer or the thinker, the more you breathe and come out of your own head, the easier it is to stand down. Because a lot of that depression is ego. It's always talking to yourself. You almost have to get out of your own head. Yeah. But there are some actual physiological depressions that are caused by something in the brain.
Exactly. That's my point. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So the final message is from your guy.
But I think there was the second part of that was for
Diabetes.
diabetes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
And for me, when I did work on that, it looked like that 5 years down the road, there would be actually a medical breakthrough out of the United States to be able to help treat that. So that it would be able to affect the pancreas and insulin, but it was just about 5 years off. And when
Yeah, I got that too. And I also got Alzheimer's in the next year or so. They'll come up with something pretty magnificent.
No, exactly. So I asked, was it really the United States? I double checked on that because I felt like maybe it was coming out of Europe or even some part of Asia. And they said, no, United States. So.
Okay. Now, any final messages from you guys?
Yeah, I would say, and it's maybe parallel some of the things we've said in prior calls, but just to believe in the universe, like allow the universe to work through its plan. These are difficult times, for everybody, but there really is a universal plan for all of us, and there are no accidents. So kind of allow the universe to kind of work the plan. And I think a final thought, we all asked to be down here at this time. So we should all help and kind of contribute kind of the things that we agreed to do. So
Right. And I'm not saying we can't be on this earth without some sort of resistance, because resistance, we have certain prices to pay energetically. If we can know beyond a reasonable doubt, if people could see what I see and what you see, first of all, there's no such thing as death, but all of this serves as a purpose. And energetically, as we go through these resistance, we become higher vibrationally. So as we come into the higher vibration, we create more well-being. And that's what I see. It's not sunshine lollipops all the time, but vibrationally, we are stronger than the evil that exists. So
absolutely.
All right, my friend. I try to keep it down to 30. Okay, babe.
All right, thanks.
Bye, everybody.